Hi, I'm in Detroit right now, and I'm on Belle Isle, which is the island in the river between Detroit and Windsor, Ontario, Canada. And right behind me is some beautiful foliage, but behind me in this direction is the Belle Isle Bridge. Now, the Belle Isle Bridge, this isn't the actual original bridge. This is a replacement. Of course, the original one burned in a fire because that's what bridges do. That's what everything does. They burn in fires. Now, the reason I'm pointing out is because in 1926, well, we know for a fact that Harry Houdini died here on October 31st, 1926 in Detroit. But one of his most famous stunts was jumping off the Belle Isle Bridge behind me. Not the same bridge, but the same location. And I don't think this happened at the same time his visit was when he died, because he died on Halloween, and supposedly during this stunt it was ice. And he broke through the ice as he jumped into the river. That's, I'm sure some historian would know for a fact and will correct or just add, sorry. And but this is it, Belle Isle, and there's the bridge where Harry Houdini jumped, and there is the city where Harry Houdini died in 1926. This is the Dawson Great Lakes Museum, and this is the Detroit River. And it is one of the world's busiest waterways. It's it links Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, Lake Superior, and famously pretty polluted. This it was when I was growing up. I got mono swimming in here once. But that across the other way is Canada. They did a really nice job with this park because it was in pretty poor shape for many, many years, and people come back to enjoy it now. So I wanted to tell you a little story about a ship called the Edmund Fitzgerald. The Edmund Fitzgerald was a freighter that launched on June 7th, 1958. It was built by the Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company of Milwaukee and named after its president and chairman of the board. 15,000 people showed up for its launch on June 7th, 1958, and the person who ceremoniously hit the ship with champagne bottle tried 3 times before it actually broke, and that's supposed to be a sign of bad luck. I think something that happened fairly recently, or more recent years, Camilla Parker Bowles, the Duchess of Cornwall, had not broken the champagne bottle on a ship called the Queen Victoria, and like one of its first voyages, 80 of the crew members got food poisoning or something. So the Edmund Fitzgerald, it was on the 3rd try that the champagne bottle finally did break on it. And the ship, you know, had a good record, a clean record of operation through 1969, and then a few accidents happened. It ran aground, but it struck a wall of a lock once, and one time, really interestingly, in the Detroit River, lost one of its anchors. On November 10th in 1975, the ship actually sank in a winter storm, and is still underwater, 500 feet underwater. Back, it was leaving Milwaukee, heading towards Zug Island here in Detroit, and it got caught in a storm and sank with famously 29 crew members on board. And it took a little while for them to actually find the ship, but they did find the ship and identified it, and they figured that the accident happened above the water, and eventually the ship came to rest at the bottom. And a couple of expeditions have made it down to the Edmund Fitzgerald wreck, and at one point, I think it was 1994, they actually found one of the crew members in there and still trapped. I imagine a lot of them still are under there. The rest of them probably are, because the temperatures are so cold in Lake Superior that they're well preserved. So it was 94, so what's that, 20 years or so after the original accident, they found a crew member. But because of the popularity of the Edmund Fitzgerald wreck and the Gordon Lightfoot song, after the ship was sank, they decided to have an expedition to rescue the original anchor that had dropped here in the Detroit River. And they did actually do it. And that original anchor is standing right over there. on display. And it's so nice because for a few years I've been coming here while it's here, and it's always tucked away in some really gross place. But with all the work that they've been doing on the island and all the restoration, and they've niced it up considerably, although they have some flooding issues right now. But you're looking at an anchor from the Edmund Fitzgerald, the SS Edmund Fitzgerald, which stood for steamship. And something I learned not that long ago was that the different titles for different ships: RMS, the Titanic, was Royal Mail Ship. USS is United States Service. That's a military vehicle, or military vessel. And the SS Edmund Fitzgerald was a steamship. The flagship of the Ogle Bay Norton fleet sailed for 6,857 days on the Great Lakes, carrying iron ore to feed the steel mills of Michigan and Ohio. She was built on the Great Lakes Engineering Works at River Rouge, Michigan, 9 miles west of here. When the keel of the Fitzgerald hit the water, she became the largest freighter to traverse the inland sea, 729 feet long and 75 feet wide. January 7th, 74, while at anchor in the Detroit River here, 1 mile west of Belle Isle, that's the island we're on right now, in the Detroit River, the Fitzgerald lost her bow anchor. This 12,290-pound artifact lay undisturbed until January 20th, 92, when it was recovered. In tribute to the memory of those of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald and the men who built her, this anchor comes to represent the maritime heritage of the state of Michigan. So, it was not on the Edmund Fitzgerald when it went down, but it was on the Edmund Fitzgerald. It's an amazing piece of Edmund Fitzgerald history. So the Edmund Fitzgerald is considered, as I understand it now, a proper graveyard underneath the Lake Superior. And you need a permit to go and see it, or you'll be fined considerably because there are bodies down there. But they did go down and remove the bell from the ship, and it stands up in Sault Ste. Marie. The bell is in a museum, a maritime museum up there. I have a replica of the bell at home, actually. And not very far from here is the Mariners Church with the bell that rang 29 times. I'll show you that in a second. Now I'm in front of the Mariners Church in downtown Detroit, which was actually located about 800 feet from here. And there's the bell tower. In 1842, according to the will of Julia Ann Anderson, Mariners Church was organized to serve the spiritual needs of the Great Lakes seamen. Anderson had come to Detroit in 1818 with her husband John, a brevet lieutenant colonel with the U.S. Topographical Engineers, designed by Calvin Otis of Buffalo, New York. The Gothic Revival Church was built in 1849 on the northwest corner of Woodward and Woodbridge, 800 feet in that direction. In 55, the church was moved to make room for the Civic Center Plaza, hauled 880 feet along steel rails. Those pictures are pretty impressive. The 3,000-ton limestone structure blocked Woodward Avenue for 21 days. It was immortalized in the 1975 ballad, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, as the cathedral where the church bell chimed till it rang 29 times. So Gordon Lightfoot wrote the song about the Edmund Fitzgerald, and he called it a musty old hall in Detroit. And after he actually performed here, he changed to Rustic Old Hall in Detroit. And those are the words he uses now. And what's kind of interesting now is that since it's been moved, the tunnel to Canada is now underneath it. But inside they do have a display. I think they might resent the Edmund Fitzgerald thing a little bit. And not in a nasty way, just kind of like, oh, we got to talk about that again. I think this is so famous that I think that maybe they feel like other places should get more recognition. But they still do have a ceremony every year on the anniversary of the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. Please hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down and subscribe if you could. I'd certainly appreciate it. There's a link below for Patreon support if you'd like to subscribe. I do a monthly exclusive question and answer video for Patreon subscriptions. And also PayPal. Thank you so much, Jolene, Virgil Blum, Ann Meyer, Anthony Burke, and Tamara Pope. Your donations are very much appreciated. And thank you to my Patreon supporters, David Ionati, Veronica Arquette, Daphne King, Kim Halper, Carolyn Alfieri, and Laura. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Until next time.
You heard me.